love to fly up in the sky. Through the clouds I reach so high, climbing up to touch the light. Adventure calls me day and night. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. The stars above begin to shine, painting trails so bright and fine. Every turn brings something new, endless skies in brilliant blue. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the drum's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light.
Hello, fine people. So we're back to the A340. Today we are going to take the 9H SOL, or Sierra Oscar Lima, from Highfly. It's an all-white paint job except for that little sticker there, operated by Highfly. So we're back to this plane after some issues that we had in the first flight. Second flight was so-so. Some issues with GSX, not really with this plane. So we're making the external inspection as we go. And everything looks fine and dandy. Engines, of course. What we look for in these inspections, as you know, is just we'll look at the blades and the engines, check out for fuel leaks. None of that is simulated, of course, but it's part of the external inspection. I'm going to take a look here to see if we can see our little crosses. There they are. To confirm if there's no fuel tank overfeeding. I was looking at some funky reflections here. As you go back, you can clearly see that there's some red light going on over there. Nothing reflecting. Not sure why. And I hope we have a good flight, because last flight with the FS Labs A321 was a bit of a letdown. Plane had some issues, but maybe this one will go better. I read someone or heard someone say that the A340-300, this one we're flying right now, should have great braking power because it had 2 bogies and an additional rear bogie, but that's not the case, because this center bogie is only here for hello Mirsha, good evening. This Centerburg is only here for weight distribution, and it doesn't have a brake system, so don't know why these people don't research before they say stuff like that. I do make my own mistakes, but when I don't know what I'm talking about, I'll be quiet. Oh, look at that. There's a little sticker there. I'll be quiet. Or I'll try to be quiet. You don't usually hear me make stuff up. Unless it's a joke or something like that. It look okay. Can really see the bottom of it. Of course, let's confirm here. There's the little cross right there. All right, let's just look at the main fuselage here in the back and figure out if there's any leaks. We got our flashlight on. So there's the APU flap. It's closed. Actually open the APU section, and we can actually go up there. It's a pretty neat feature. There's some guy over there already, so we can make him disappear. You know me, I'm one for magic. Bam, bam, bam. All right, let's give it up. You can also open the engines. Most of the hatches, like this one, for the door control, the cargo door control, you can also operate them. I'm just going to show you the engine because it's really cool. You really see it in the cells. Open, it's pretty cool. Just a cool feature. Nothing to it. It's on the other side. Close it. You can actually look inside. You can see the oil. At least in 350, you can see the oil level. Maybe not in this plane. All right, so the jetway is not connected. Last time we had issues, these jetways weren't connecting with the FS Labs A321. So let's see if we still have the same issues, but let's go back into the cockpit for now. All right, welcome. And there's always this bump when we load the plane for some reason. I think this has to do with GSX. Not entirely sure, but it is what it is. Let's, the $100,000 question. Is Betsy with us today? She is. Look at that. Hello, Betsy. Nice having you here. All right, cockpit pre-flight checklists. Let's turn on our flashlights for now. Let's do this. So parking brakes are set. They are set. Flaps are up and spoilers are retracted and disarmed. Weather radar is off, as well as the predictive wind shear up here. It's also in off mode. Engine master switches 1 to 4 are all off. Engine mode selector is set to norm. Thrust levers set to idle. They are on idle. Gear is down. We just checked it is really on the ground. And the wipers are off. All right. So again, we're flying with the IES-2 generation of MFDs. Someone asked me, why don't you fly with the EES-1? Because it's an older aircraft, so it's fun to see the old CRT monitors. I mean, it's just for show. The plane will behave the same way. I do prefer to have sharper details. It's up to you, really. You can choose when you select the plane from the menu, and you can choose either IES-1, which is a little older CRT monitors with curved corners and some different fonts and different behavior, but everything else works same. So no point in choosing it unless you really want to, and I honestly don't really want to. All right, battery 1, battery 2, and APU battery, and the plane comes to life. We can turn off our flashlight now. Hello, Betsy. Looking pretty as always. All right. So first of all, let's take a look at our flight. So we are going from Charles de Gaulle to Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv in Israel. And yeah, it's a controversial destination these days for obvious reasons. I'm not going to comment about political stuff. So this is just going to be a nice flight for us, hopefully. Now, let's make sure we turn on one thing that's really important, and that's in realism. Let's see if I can find it, because this menu looks very different from the A350, and I really want to find that out. It's probably not in the settings. I think it's in the aircraft. It's got to be here. We want to turn on, because last time we flew with the 340, we did see some issues coming close to a conflict zone. But today I really want to see what happens. Is it on maintenance? No. Where is that? It's not here. Oh, let's see if this works today, because last time was a crap show. No, I'm pretty sure we had an option to turn on. Oh, it's got to be here. Yeah, there it is. So we got GPS jamming as an option, not spoofing, but jamming is bad enough. So the difference between jamming or spoofing is jamming will inhibit your airplane from receiving GPS signal, while spoofing will fool your plane to think it's somewhere else. So we are going to set this to real world, because we want to see this being active over Israel, which is an active war zone, and so it will most likely encounter these situations. Now, let me just check my throttle position, detents here. All right, looks good, because last time I had an issue. Now, Inibuilds have an issue here with the reversers. So for now, currently, we are not able to activate reverses on a button. So that's a big deal for me, because I use on my throttle, I have a button for the reversers set on the axis. So when I hit that button on the axis, it will activate a button, and that will bring the reversers. Unfortunately, it seems that Inibuilds has built in the feature for a button, and I'll show you how that works. So right now I'm on idle, as you can see, and if I pull back, nothing happens. But if I press a button I pre-assign here, which is this one, you see now I'm moving the reverses. This looks like it's working okay, but it's a real crap show. I prefer to have like the throttle go back to idle, and then continue to pull back until it goes on to reversers. As you can see, if I forget to press the button, what will happen now is every time I pull the throttle in, it will engage the reverse levers. I have to press the button again. There you go, button pressed. Now the button's pressed, sorry. And now I'm back to the normal throttle operation. This is not the way to go. Sorry about that. I just don't agree with this. But anyway, it is what it is. All right, so again, prepping the flight. We have already imported the Simbrief flight. So this is our flight for today. So got a high fly Malta, so HFM 02, not ignore the 0. It's I fly 221 from Orly to Ben Gurion in Tel Aviv, Israel. And we are going to have a cost index of 51, and we're going to have our fuel will be not even half of what this plane can actually take, but oh, come on, this scroll thing is killing me. 28.9, so it's going to be quite a full plane for today. And let's start prepping everything. So now, right now the plane is out of power, so because we just got in. So let's prep the flight. Cockpit preparation, bats 1, 2, and APU 2 on. External power, let's turn it on. All right, let's wait for the plane to come to life. It's going to take a few moments. Accu brake pressure, let's take a look. Yep, they're set. They're on the green and pressurized. Cockpit lights. Let's bring some sunlight in here. Integral. Also on the overhead panel. Where is it? Where is the light? It's a little different from the A320. Where is the cockpit light here? Oh well. Give ground control. So there used to be a knob. Well, in all airplanes there's a knob here to control these lights above. So probably the one below controls the integrated lights on the top as well. Could be the case. Instrument display brightness as required. APU fire test. Let's make some noise. Let's turn on track IR, by the way. So let me look forward. Track IR is on. Now let's look up. So we got APU fire, squib, discharge agent, APU red, ECAM status, master warning. Alright, cruise supply set on CVR. Let's see, where is the CVR? I always have a problem with this plane's CVR tests. This is the evac. It's always in a different position depending on the aircraft. Where's the evac? Oh, sorry, the CVR tests. Should be some push buttons. Oxygen. Command. No. Or could be on the back. Oh, come on, turn right. My hand doesn't want to turn right. All right, there you go. Oh, what's going on with this track IR system? Look, let's just skip that. It's not even important. Hey, there's 1, 2, and 3. Done. Exterior lights to wing. Wing on. This one is on auto. Nav 1. And that's it. No smoking portable devices. Let's turn those up. You know what? Let's turn on the dome light here to storm. No smoking and armed emergency lights. Now that's better. See, Betsy? Emergency lights is armed. Enunciator lights check. Let's go. Where is it? Up. All right. Looks like every light is lit. Part the redundancy. All right. This CDU still doesn't work, so that's expected. All right. Let's turn it off now. Oh, that's the storm light. Sorry, this one. Probe and window heat not required for today. APU available, not available. AC temperatures. All right. Looks everything set to norm. No need to change that for now. ECAM page sets the ECAM page to electrical. Got some system warnings for inoperable systems. That's expected. All right. So where's the electrical? There it is. So let's see, electrical. Let's turn off BAT 1. BAT 1 is off. There it is. Turn it back on. Battery is back. Again for battery 2. Battery's off. ECAM status back on, and APU BAT. Got the symbology, synoptics. I don't think APU BAT has ECAM warning, so no warning. Or it should. If it should, it's not bringing it out. All right. let's return this to normal operation. So again, we got a status here. Fuel pumps to set to off because I'm going to make engine fire tests. So let's go for this track IR. Engine 1 fire tests. Actually, it's going to make it for all of it in this plane. So 4 bites and 4 squib discharge, 2 for each, 8 squib discharge, 2 for each aircraft, for each engine, sorry. ECAM status is up with ECAM warnings and master warning and oral warning. Tested. Flight directors 1 and 2 set on. Barrel reference. Let's listen to our ATIS. Oh, what was that? I'm not even touching the auto throttle, but okay. That's because we turn on the flight directors. But I don't usually hear this because usually when I jump in the plane, the flight directors are on. So usually I don't hear the bip bip bip. Let's call beyond ATC and let's listen to the ATIS. Radio's off. That's why I don't hear anything.
Okay, temperature 112.07, QNH 1015, landing runway 25, departing runway 24, transition level 050, advise on initial contact, you have information echo. Orly Airport information echo, 19080, 12705, ceiling and visibility okay, temperature 112.07, QNH 1015, landing runway 25, departing runway 24, transition level 050, advise on initial contact, you have information echo. Orly Airport information echo, 19080, 12705, ceiling and visibility okay, temperature 112.07.
Whoa. This ATIS is awfully fast. I thought they had fixed
landing
this.
Runway 25, departing runway 24, transition level 050.
See, now it's good.
Advise on initial contact, you have information echo.
See, now it's slow. Sometimes it just starts
echo.
reading like crazy. So we got echo for departure, got barrel reference already. So we got F is set to arc 10 constraint, arc 10 constraint. No FC for now. We're gonna skip that. And radio setup, MCU data. Now let's insert the flight plan as of now. So let's go here. Our IRS is still being lined up. Not yet aligned, but we can initiate the aircraft. So let me see if I remember this correctly. We go to ACARS. Here it is. Oh, doesn't work. I forgot. So we need to go back to the menu. AOC. And now page 2. LF PO for Paris Orly. Let's request a METAR and a TAF. See what happens. Not sure it's gonna work because it didn't work last time. Still. Alright. We'll go back to this. So let's go to again ATC COM, ATC menu. And now page 2, depart request, and now let's fill it in. So LFPO 2, what's the, I don't even remember, decal code for Ben Gurion. So routing. LLBG. And we are at gate. What's the gate number? The gate number, gentlemen. No gate. It's probably the unknown gate. Alpha 03. Right. So it's A03. 3. I'm with all this trouble, it's probably not going to work. We got Echo on board. We're going to request LFPO. And we got an A340 blam. Let's see, ATC departure. There it is. Let's send. Did I press send or cancel? I'm not sure. It went directly to the receive message, so I assume I pressed the right button, but you can never know. Still waiting for the ATC message to come in. I'm going to check on Beyond ATC to see if no, the clearance was not sent. Clearance not sent for Moonraker 321. All right, so let's do it again. Oh my God. Sorry, ATC menu. Departure. Yeah, oh, come on. LFPO to LLBG. Gate Alpha 03. We got Echo. We want information from LFPO. And we got a 343 aircraft. Alright. Let's see now. Send. Alright, now it's been sent for sure. But then it goes blank, so we got GPS on. Fine. Alright, let's wait, see if it does happen. Alright, so now we're gonna request our payload. Let's see. Hope this works. Load with GSX. Let's see what happens.
Boarding requested.
Alright, we got boarding requested. I can hear vehicles moving. But I don't think this will work, guys. This could be an airport issue, by the way. Hello, I am VPTRO. Sorry if I can pronounce your nickname.
There are no passenger stairs. You will not see passengers visually.
Yeah, you heard the lady. So we will not be able to see passengers loading. But there's some issue with these gates. You know, nice. That means I'll never fly to this airport ever again. So we got to instant load, I suppose. So it is boarding passengers, we just can't see them because probably will not see them here. Yeah. So there are no seated passengers on this plane because this is a marketplace A340, and for that reason there's no seated passengers on a marketplace aircraft. As you can see, no ATC message received, but I did receive the request.
Tops with 68 Romeo Quebec on our way to Geneva.
So we got
Tops with 68 Romeo Quebec, Orly delivery. Expect
it was rejected because we got an invalid type, but I didn't receive any messages in reply. So we'll just call clearance and ask for a voice. Again, this ATC is not working correctly anyway, this ATC clearance, so yeah, it's always going to give us issues. So let's go to initiation request.
815 when ready for pushback or engine start. Tops with 68 Romeo Quebec. Have a good evening, thanks.
Yeah, it's loading the fuel. Alright, so we're going to confirm HFM 221, cost index 51, flight level 390. That's what we got on our flight plan. It's still pretending to load with GSX. Yeah, GSX, when it works, it works. When it works, it works. So we got a fuel tank low level. That's because we didn't turn on our pumps, probably. So our MCDU and RadNav set to are completed. Our flight plan is loaded. Let's request our IFR clearance
Moonraker
to
221
Tel
Heavy,
Aviv.
ready to copy IFR clearance to Ben Gurion Airport.
Moonraker 221 Heavy, all-way delivery, expect runway 24 bubbly 2 Quebec departure, squawk 2021.
Bubbly 2 Quebec departure, squawk 2021, Moonraker 221 Heavy.
Moonraker 221 Heavy, read back correct, contact ground 121.705 when ready for pushback or engine start.
Ground 121.705 when ready, Moonraker 221 Heavy.
Alright, so we got our clearance to Ben Gurion Airport. Let's insert the data. So we're going to depart via runway runway
Tops with 68 Romeo Quebec, ready to taxi to the active.
Tops with 68 Romeo Quebec, runway 24 taxi via Lima Tango, Lima Papa, Whiskey 41.
Runway 24 taxi via Lima Tango, Lima Papa, Whiskey 41
Alright.
tops with 68 Romeo Quebec.
Come on. What's going on with the scroll here? Runway 24. Jesus. 24. VA bubble to Quebec. That's all I needed, man. This scroll is killing me. Alright. It appears we got everything set up for now. So we got let's continue on with the checklist. IFR clearance received, IRS align is checked, flight plan reviewed, FEs and Nav8s as required, squawk set, takeoff briefing. Would you like to listen to the takeoff briefing? No, she doesn't want to. Alright, cockpit preparation checklist complete. Let's just wait for the passengers to be loaded in. And they're not being loaded. Alright, let's see if it works now.
Tops with 68 Romeo Quebec, contact OE Tower 118.7.
So it
Over to
appears
Tower
that
118
there's no
7 tops
depiction
with
for the
68 Romeo
passengers here,
Quebec.
just the fuel, I guess. So we got zero fuel weight, 142.0. Oh, what just happened? Oh, there it is. 142.0. Payload
Refueling truck is on its way.
19.0. And fuel is 290.6. Takeoff weight 171.6 within margins. Alright, let's go to performance. Let's insert all that data. Just noticing that GPU connection, shocks, catering set to off. Pushback. Let's hope it works today, because usually it doesn't. Alright, let's import from FMGS our data, and let's sync the weather as well. So we're going to set our flaps to optimum, air conditioning we're going to leave it on, anti-ice to off, and force toga to off. Let's calculate. There it is. So flex 53, and there's no way to upload this. Let's see, send to FMGS. Just the speeds, see? It's just the speed. Let's see, confirm. Alright. So it
Fuel truck
primarily
is in position.
just sets the speeds, but then it actually does uplink. But you should need to press this button here, uplink takeoff data. But whatever. Alright, so we're gonna require flap 1 up 5.6, flex temperatures of 53. V1 is 148, VR is 153, V2 is 158. Confirmed. So yeah, you see the difference between V1 and V2. 10 knots difference. That doesn't look like much, but it is a lot because the plane takes an awful lot of time to accelerate. Hello, Mirsha. Oh, sorry. Oh, you're Yulia from Romania. Welcome, Yulia. Sorry, I didn't see you previously. Welcome, Yulia. Yeah, Misha is our my moderator for today. All right. I think we're just about ready. We still got that system to clear out. Let's perform the pre-start checklist. Let's go to APU master 1, 2, 3. Start APU. So MCD weights are in. MCD takeoff performance is set. Let's just go here to our zero fuel weight setup. So let's go back to our performance. Here we go. Zero fuel weight is 142.0.
Heavy at ramp Echo 9 request pushback.
And we got
Portugal 437 X-ray heavy, Orly ground, pushback approved.
Zero fuel weight CG at 26.4.
Start approved. Face north, Air Portugal 437
Oh, there's an Air Portugal flight here. And we got our block fuel set for, where's our block fuel? 29.6. There's a lot of fuel. All right. Now, we got everything set up. V speeds, we got VR set at 148, V1 148, VR 153, and V2 158. APU is available. Turn on APU bleed, external power set to off. Seatbelt signs are already on. We got our passengers on board. Air conditioning as required, not required. All right, pre-start checklist complete. Let's call the ground team and hopefully they'll start working their way to getting us out of here. Is it raining? No, not raining because the sky was clear when I looked out. So, all right. So windows and doors are closed. Doors in the back are closed. The windows are closed. A little knob here. You see it when the windows open. It's different from the modern.
Portugal 437 X-ray heavy. Request taxi
From
to
the
be
modern Airbuses, where this lever, this button needs to be pushed out. In the 340 is the other way around. This button needs to be pushed in.
We'll
Both buttons pushed in. Fuel pumps.
Whiskey 41 Air Portugal 437 X-ray heavy.
Let's turn them all on. It's time for us to leave. What's that? Beacon set to on. Steering pin. Let's see, we're gonna wait for the steering pin because we need to call the guys on the ground because automation doesn't work on this plane. So where is ground equipment? So everything is detached. Let's call the guys. GSX. 183 passengers. That's not a lot of people.
Air Portugal 437 X-ray heavy. Contact Orly Tower 118.7 bye-bye.
Over to Tower 118.7 Air Portugal 437 X-ray heavy. Have a good evening.
Nice. Transylvania. Carpathian Mountains, right? It's really beautiful. I've seen a lot of pictures from there from a group of friends that went there a few summers ago. Really beautiful region. We're waiting for the pin to continue our checklists.
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
See the nose wheel steering disconnected. That's the bypass pin inserted, as she said. Alright, so We are ready for the push. Let's request push and start.
Moonraker 221 Heavy at Gate Alpha 3, request pushback.
Moonraker 221 Heavy, Ollie ground, pushback and engine start approved, face west.
Facing west.
Pushback approved, face west. Moonraker 221 Heavy.
It's in resist.
Locking gear.
Corsica 32 Romeo Charlie, Gate Bravo 22 request pushback. Corsica 32 Romeo Charlie, Ollie ground, pushback approved, face west. Pushback and engine start approved, face west. Corsica 32 Romeo Charlie.
No. What? Are you sure you want to pull? Not sure what that means. Continue pushback. Alright, facing west.
Release parking brakes.
Parking brake released.
Starting push. All engines clear. Start at wheel.
Copy, start at wheel. Let's start engine 1. So again, a couple of people told me that I should start engines 3, 4, 1 and 2, but as I've been discussing in the last few live streams, it's now becoming like a norm from Airbus and around the world to start the left side first and then continue to the right side, regardless of the number of engines. That's for ground safety mostly.
To the active. Corsica 32 Romeo Charlie, runway 24 taxi via Whiskey 2 Lima Papa, Whiskey 41.
Start
Runway
the clock,
24
start
taxi
the clock.
via Whiskey 2 Lima Papa, Whiskey 41 Corsica 32 Romeo Charlie.
Alright, so TCAS set to standby. It is set to standby. Let's set it on auto for now. Done. Clock is running. Parking brake has been released. We're starting the engines. Alright, start number 2. By the way, the 340 has a capability of starting more than one engine at a time, but we'll stick to starting one at a time for safety reasons. Take a look outside. One and 2 is running.
Set parking brakes.
Parking brakes are set.
Voici new confirmation fort à good engine start.
Confirmation. Roger that. Alright, number 2 is still starting. Two is available. Start 3. And start 4. Let's do 2 engine at a time, since the plane is capable of doing that. Grabbing my checklist to carry on. You just be quiet for now, please. Here come both engines. Alright, let's call it in.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
2 Romeo Charlie, contact Ollie Tau 118.7. Over to Tau 118.7, Corsica 32 Romeo Charlie.
We should have pinned this before, but we'll do it right now. We're gonna go with Bubbly. So, departure, it's gonna be Bubble to Quebec.
Truck disconnected. Bypass Parma.
To Golf.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
To Quebec. Here. Alright. So this is our departure. All the way to Bull, which should be right there. Bubbly. Alright. It's gonna wait for the pin. There's a pin. Alright, we're clear. Request taxi.
Moonraker 221 Heavy, request taxi.
Moonraker 221 Heavy, runway 24 taxi via Whiskey 2 Lima Papa, Whiskey 41.
Runway 24 taxi via Whiskey 2 Lima Papa, Whiskey 41 Moonraker 221 Heavy.
Corsica 68 Zulu
Here we go.
at gate Bravo 22, request pushback.
Corsica 68 Zulu
are
Kilo,
set.
Holy ground, pushback approved, face north.
Let's go.
Pushback
Taxi to
approved.
the active
Face north,
via
Corsica 68 Zulu Kilo.
Whiskey, Lima, and Whiskey again. Alright, here we go. And rolling. APU lead to off, APU master to off, NTI is not required. Pushback and startup checklist complete. See if I need to turn here. Right before taxi checklist, auto brake set to max, spoilers are armed, flaps set for takeoff, engine NTI is not required, flight controls. We'll check that on the move. Pitch trim,
Below 221 Mike uniform, ramp Echo 901, request pushback.
set 5.6 up,
And
and
221 Mike uniform, Holy ground, pushback approved, face northeast.
rudder trim. Push
Pushback
to
approved,
reset,
face
steering pin
northeast,
has
below
been
D21
removed,
Mike
continue
uniform.
taxi. Alright, before taxi checklist complete. Now I'm bringing up my map here, because I don't trust to follow me anymore. Because the last time was a crap show. So we need to go forth, follow that plane probably.
Royal Mark 781 Sierra, at gate uniform 5, request pushback.
Alright,
Royal
flight
Mark
controls
781
checked.
Sierra, Holy ground, pushback approved,
Full deflection
face
left.
west.
Pushback and
Neutral.
engine start approved. Face west.
Full
Royal Mark
deflection
781
right.
Sierra.
Neutral.
Corsica
Full
68
pitch
Zulu
up.
Kilo, ready to taxi to the active.
Neutral. Full pitch down. Neutral.
Corsica 68 Zulu
Brake here.
Kilo, runway 24 taxi
Full
via
rudder
Whiskey
left.
2 Lima uniform, Lima Papa,
Neutral.
Whiskey
Full rudder
41.
right. Neutral.
Runway 24
Let's carry on
taxi via
taxiing.
Whiskey 2
Flight
Lima
controls have
uniform,
been checked.
Lima Papa, Whiskey
Taxi
41, Corsica
checklist,
68
nose light
Zulu
set to
Kilo.
take off. Taxi, sorry. Runway turn off set to on. Strobes set to auto, as they should, right here. On and auto. Parking brake is off. Takeoff config. Tested. Taxi checklist complete. Alright, need to turn right up ahead and really follow that plane. Not sure what happens with the jetways on Orly, but they're not functional. I'm pretty sure I installed the correct
Below 221 Mike uniform, ready to taxi to the active.
ones, but maybe I
Below
didn't.
221 Mike uniform, runway 24 taxi
I mean
via
the
Lima Papa,
GSX
Whiskey
file.
41.
Runway 24 taxi via Lima Papa, Whiskey 41 below 221 Mike uniform.
Royal Mark 781 Sierra, request taxi.
Again, we're flying
Royal
from
Mark 781
Paris
Sierra,
Paris
runway 24 taxi
Orly
via Lima 2 Whiskey 2
to
Lima Papa, Whiskey 41.
Ben Gurion in
Runway
Israel.
24 via Lima 2 Whiskey 2 Lima Papa, Whiskey
We're
41,
expecting
Royal
to
Mark
find some
781
issues
Sierra.
with GPS jamming. We turned it on for
Below
the
221 Mike uniform, hold position for traffic. I'll call you back.
Hold position for traffic, below
from
221
the
Mike
options
uniform.
for the world data reference. So basically we're NOTAMs, notify pilots of such issues like GPS jamming.
Corsica 68 Zulu Kilo, contact Holy Tower 118.7, have a good evening.
Over to Tower 118.7, Corsica 68 Zulu Kilo.
So we're holding here. Some planes up ahead. So basically we need to follow these planes wherever they go, so no need to speculate much. Alright, so we're waiting till get closer to the runway to continue with the before takeoff checklists. Feeling confident today? Oh, Betsy? For those that don't know, Betsy hates my guts. She's my co-pilot, trusted co-pilot, but she really doesn't like to talk much. Where is the airport chart? Right here. So here we are, we just need to go all the way up here to runway 24. But this plane is stuck. Is this one of those situations where the planes just get stuck? Oh my, let me confirm. Yeah, that plane's stuck. Let's hope that now the plane's rolling down the runway. Let's hope it gets unstuck. There's a taxiway right over there. Alright, boys and girls, close your eyes. This is a situation very frequent.
Royal Air Maroc 781 Sierra, hold position for traffic.
Hold position, Royal Air Maroc 781 Sierra.
Below tier 21 Mike uniform, continue taxi.
Continue taxi, below tier 21 Mike uniform.
Royal Air Maroc 781 Sierra, continue taxi.
This happens when, for some reason, you get overtaken by another traffic aircraft.
Below tier 21 Mike uniform, hold position for traffic.
And see, now it's telling it to stop
Hold
again.
position for traffic, below tier
It
21
never
Mike
told
uniform.
me to stop because it's expecting me to
Below tier 21
overtake
Mike
them
uniform,
some
continue
way,
taxi.
somehow.
Continue taxi, below tier 21 Mike uniform.
This is a known issue.
Moonraker 221 heavy, contact Holy Tower 118.7, bye-bye.
Going to Holy Tower.
It's Tower 118.7, Moonraker 221 Heavy. Have a good evening.
Yes. Hello, Andrew. Welcome. Alright, let's go up there, perform our before takeoff checklist, and then we'll call it in. So this is the first holding point for Cat 2, and that's the Cat 1, or the visual holding point for runway 24. So let's hold here. Here we go. Cabin crew, notify. Done. External lights, we're going to set it in a moment. Nose wheel lights set for takeoff.
Royal Air Maroc 781 Sierra, hold position for traffic.
NTI is not required, PAX not required, TCAS set for TIRA. Done. Weather radar to set to on. Predictive weather set to auto. Weather mode not required. Takeoff memo no blue. So just request departure.
Moonraker 221 Heavy, ready to go. Runway 24.
Moonraker 221 Heavy, Orly Tower, wind 240 at 5, runway 24 cleared for takeoff.
Runway 24 cleared for takeoff. Moonraker 221 Heavy.
So no line up and wait.
Sierra, continue taxi.
Directly to clear for
Continue
takeoff.
taxi, Royal Air Maroc 781 Sierra.
Below tier 21 Mike uniform, hold position for traffic. I'll call you back. Hold position below the 21 Mike uniform.
It's a big
Royal
plane.
Air 781 Sierra. Hold position for traffic.
Hold position for traffic. Royal Air Maroc 781 Sierra.
We're a bit offset, but this is a big plane. It will happen.
Short. Runway
Let me
24.
just get some better floodlight. Alright, there we go. Fully ready.
24 departing traffic. Affirm, hold short of 24 below
There we go.
21 Mike uniform.
50%. And man flags, SRS runway. Airspeed align.
Below 221 Mike uniform. Runway 24, line up and wait.
80 knots.
Line up and wait. Runway 24 below 221 Mike uniform.
100.
Royal Air Maroc 781 Sierra, continue taxi.
Continue taxi. Royal Air Maroc
V1.
781 Sierra.
Rotate. Positive rate, gear up.
Royal Air Maroc 781 Sierra, ready for departure. Runway 24.
Royal Air Maroc 781 Sierra, number 1 for departure. Hold short of 24.
Thrust.
Roger, hold
Climb.
short of 24. Royal Air Maroc 781
Climb set.
Sierra.
Climb nav.
221 Mike uniform, Orly Tower. Wind 240 at 5, runway 24 cleared for takeoff. Runway 24 cleared for takeoff, below 221 Mike uniform.
Speed check, flaps up.
Moonraker 221 heavy, contact Orly departure 127.75.
Contact Orly departure 127.75, Moonraker 221 heavy. Orly departure, Moonraker 221 heavy, good evening, 2,400 feet.
Andrew, I miss flying too.
Heavy, Orly departure, good evening, identified. Climb to flight level 190.
190.
Climb to flight level 190, Moonraker
AP1.
221 heavy.
AP1, I mean, not APU. 190 set. Right, after takeoff checklist. Gear retracted, flaps are up and retracted, ground spoilers disarmed, thrust set to climb, weather radar as required. Sorry, I jumped right here. After takeoff checklist, spoilers disarmed, thrust set to climb, autopilot as required, nose wheel lights to off,
221 Mike uniform, Orly departure, good evening, identified.
and nose lights to off.
Climb to flight level 170
Runway turn
below
off and
221
nose
Mike
light
uniform.
Right, passing transition level set to standard. Done. We need to follow
All
our
aircraft be advised,
departure.
information Gulf now current, QNH1015.
Here we are. Our little plane is turning now to follow the procedure. We got a constraint here. It's going to be flight level 100, our first constraint. We're going to stay there for now until we clear this constraint on the next waypoint. Exactly like we're seeing here. So PO 300 as a constraint of flight level 100 or by ATC, but we'll follow it for safety measures because I don't think beyond ATC can follow altitude
Orly
restrictions.
departure, Royal Air Maroc 781 Sierra, 1,600 feet.
Royal Air Maroc 781 Sierra, Orly departure, identified. Climb to flight level
So you see how long is it taking compared to the A321neo, how long it takes to reach 10,000 feet. It's crazy. This plane is so slow accelerating. It is a workhorse, but it is awfully slow. Altitude constraint, set, and nav. Yeah, Andrew, I had 293 this morning and now it seems it's back to 295. So someone unsubscribed and others resubscribed, something like that. As you know, and as most people that visit me know, I'm not seeking audience. I just want to fly and have people fly with me. So guys, if you're willing to give a helping hand to this channel, you guys can see on your on the link description my link to buy me a coffee, as well as in the chat there's a pinned message to buy me a coffee for those chatting live. And not right now, but during the live you'll see a QR code popping up right passing 10,000 feet. Landing lights off. As I was saying, you'll see a QR code in the upper right corner somewhere over here, and that's for the QR code. That's also for the buy me a coffee. So guys, I cannot express my gratitude for those that already helped the channel in the past, and it has helped me to purchase this very plane. That wasn't the entirety of the value, but it really helped me to purchase this plane. It was a good help. Anything that I'm offered in Buy Me Coffee will be reinvested in the simulator. So let's move our constraints to far away. We got our radar operational right there. So we're expecting to receive the next flight level. So currently we are ordered to flight level 190, and we're expecting to continue climbing now that we are halfway, a little less than halfway from departing. I would say halfway will be beyond this point here. As we go through our SID, standard instrument departure, we can appreciate beautiful Paris. We can also appreciate our plane from the outside. So I can zoom out a little bit and see better. So I'm going to leave the external lights for the wings on, just for cinematic pleasure, because this is a completely white plane. There's nothing more. There's nothing to see there. Even the cabin is dark. It's not like you're going to see much, but at least you can have like a presence of the plane. Because when it's pitch black, especially like so, you don't see much without those wing lights on. Now, why the planes have wing lights? That's a good question. It's actually to take a look at the... Let's go to Paris Control. I'll get back to that.
Contact Paris Control 118.05, we make it 221 heavy. Paris Control, we make it 221 heavy. Good evening. To flight level 165, flight level 190, direct BATAG.
We're going to BATAG.
We make it 221 heavy. Paris Control, radar contact.
Let's go to our cruise altitude.
Climb to flight level 390, we make it 221 heavy.
390. So coming back to those wing lights, why are they there? Well, they are here to illuminate the slat position here, so we can take a look. Well, not the pilots. The pilots can't see all the way back, but they can see primarily. They can see the wing. What's it called? Well, it's the slat. And you can see if there's ice formation. And of course, take a look at the engines now. If I put this away, you will see that these illuminate the engines pretty well. Right there. So it's only there for, let's say, the pilots feel like a vibration or something like that. The first people to see that, of course, will be the passengers. There's no way to avoid that, but at least the flight crew can also take a look outside and see if there's anything wrong. It's mainly for that reason, but there's also like C and be seen feature to these lights, and every light on the aircraft at night is valuable. The landing lights, you leave them on until you cross 10,000 feet. The same with these wing lights. You leave them on so you can make yourself a little bright spot in the sky. It's very important during the nighttime because it's harder to see, as you would realize. So it's like a secondary effect for those wing lights. But after some time, and it's even on the checklist, so after 10,000 feet, landing lights, wing lights, and seatbelt signs are turned off. So I'm going to leave the wing lights for now, but I'm just going to turn off these seatbelt signs for them, leave them on auto. There's a no smoking sign. We're going to leave it on for now because I don't want people smoking on my plane. The gall. We're still, now we've passed our half point to depart Paris. And it seems that this is a frequent thing in my channel. Not only am I getting fewer viewers every time I post, that's probably because I don't post many flights these last few days because of the weather, but I've also noticed that after departure people also depart from my stream. That's because they don't really like the in-between takeoff and landing. I get that. I mean, it's gotta be boring. But currently there's only one person watching. I think that's just me. At least that's what YouTube's telling me. It's probably not correct. YouTube takes some time to signal people watching. So sometimes there's one and there's no one, or the other way around. Sometimes there's no one and it says there's one. I'm not watching the stream directly, but I am streaming, and I do have my cell phone following the chat. So because I've had some chat issues with people spamming, but that means that I'm probably the only one watching right now. So it's a little bit disheartening, but I stopped complaining a long time ago. I'm in a good spot. I can fly and I can stream for people that appreciate what I do. Even if they're not here with me live, they will certainly look into it afterwards, and that's fine for me. Again, I'm not an too ambitious guy. So guys, again, there's the QR code right up in the upper right corner, as you can see. That's a QR code. If you scan with your phone, will lead you directly to my Buy Me a Coffee page. And I appreciate your help. If you're willing to lend a hand, I would really, really appreciate it. So right now we're on the final stretch to leave. Only 2 waypoints left to leave the SID. And then we'll go to en route flight.
720 Tango, contact Ryan's control 128.3. Contact Ryan's control 128.3, speedbird 720 Tango. Have a good evening.
So we can perform we already performed the memory items for the climb, but we can do the climb checklist now. So bear reference set as standard after transition. Done. NTI is not required. EFIS currently we'll set it at 320 nautical miles. Weather radar is being used to 0 at 0 point as climbed. It should be pointing up, but it's not functional on this plane or any plane on Flight Simulator 2024. We'll talk about that in a moment. You are here, Misha. Thank you. Landing lights are off. Wing lights are still on because like I said, I like to leave it on for the sake of viewership, and seatbelt signs are turned off. So climb checklist complete. So yeah, about the weather radar, it does work, but as you can see, it's set to 00. That's not correct. It should be pointing up. So we move down here, and we're set to cal, so that's the gain, and then we move this knob here up. But although it says it's pointing up, it is not really pointing up, because currently the weather radar in Flight Simulator 2020 and 2024, both of them, they're not correctly depicting the weather radar beams, so they're just pointing straight forward, sorry. And so no matter what you turn your little knob there, it will always look straight up. Actually, we need to set this to turbulence as well. So, and currently that's the way it is for all aircraft, because Asogo just doesn't release the weather API for the producers to work on it. So yeah, and that's the only weather radar we got. I'm just zooming in to take a look at this route because it seemed to be broken, but it's not. Look broken. Point zoom down. Right, so we're out of Bibli, so we're turning away from Bibli because we're turning southeast to reach Israel. So we're going to go down south to Israel, southeast towards the Mediterranean Sea, and then Israel. So we're going to go back here and go to en map. This is our route for today. So as you can see, we're going to go directly down. My first flight to Israel, first planned flight, was a more straightforward approach. But I did that before the Simbrief update. And now with the Simbrief update, we are flying realistic, true-to-life routes. And so this is a more accurate route than a real-life plane would do. So that's why I'm not going straight down, because it will be faster if it's a straight line, right? But it's not. We have to contend with the winds, Earth's curvature, Earth's rotation as well. Even though the route isn't that long, not for this plane, we still need to account for that. So that's why the routes can be curved. That's why it's not always a straight line towards a waypoint. And if you follow the Atlantic route, that's even worse. And you will see over the Atlantic that some routes will go like this. If I want to go from Lisbon to LA on the other side, it will probably need to fly up north through Canada, something like this. Oh, sorry. Let me reduce my mouse sensitivity because it's a little too sensitive. All right. So the flight will do something like this and go all the way through Canada and down south instead of going as you would expect in a straight line. That has to do with Earth's rotation. Earth is curved, sorry, flat Earth, it's true. And so as Earth rotates, you need to compensate for that. But not only that, we need to take advantage of these lanes here in the North Atlantic. Those are the North Atlantic tracks. And they are set, I would say they were set daily, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's not daily, but I think it's daily, in order to take advantage of the world famous jet stream winds. So winds at altitude that can reach ludicrous airspeeds, like 100 knots at flight level 050, something like that. And so, yeah, it's not a straight line. You would think that coming from this point to that point over there in LA, a straight line would be better. It's not. Not only will you not take advantage of the North Atlantic winds or the North Atlantic tracks, you will also be fighting Earth's curvature, so the plane would constantly need to adjust, not the curvature, but the rotation. So the same way, but in a smaller scale, whenever you have like a local flight, like the one I'm performing right now, which is more of a regional thing, except we're going for Israel, which is outside Europe, so it's not really a regional flight. Let me zoom in a little bit. You will see that it's still not a straight line, and most likely you'll never encounter a straight line. And there's other issues as well, like, for example, some of these tracks are conditioned by politics. So let's say if I want to fly, let's see, around here that's more comprehensible for you guys. So, I don't know, if I want to fly, let's say, if I want to fly from Italy to Latvia, right here, the straight line, so I'm coming out of Rome, as you can see, it should be a straight line. It can actually be almost a straight line, so I picked the wrong destinations here. Alright, let's go from Germany, North Germany, and I want to fly to Latvia, right here. You can see that if I do that, I'm going to cross Russia. So politically, that's the Kaliningrad enclave, I think that's what it's called. So I cannot fly straight. I need to go around through Poland, right? And that's politically contained. So the same thing with Ukraine. Right now, Ukraine is a new no-fly zone. If I want to come out of, let's say, Turkey to Latvia again, or maybe even Sweden, I need to make a detour. I cannot cross Ukraine right now because it's a war zone. And yeah, so this is Ukraine right here. It's a big country. It represents a big black hole for aviation. No plane flies around here, so you need to go around. So that's the reason, another reason why most of the times you will not be seeing straight lines in flight plans. So let me set my mouse sensitivity. Now it's good. Sorry about that.
Contact border control 124.05. Have a good evening.
It's alright, for sure. And of course there's weather. So currently, right now, Europe is actually in the good weather situation, but the last few days, damn, there was a big thunderstorm flowing all the way through Europe. And I actually flew through a storm in my last flight, but I didn't encounter major weather. That will happen. That will also change course for your flight. And a good flight planning tool will take bad weather into account and will turn your plane away from it. But that's also a reason why we have weather radar, so that it's the captain's decision to make detours if it needs to. Not just the planning, but the planning does account for that with a good flight planning tool and a good flight planner as well. That's usually done by airline dispatch. I'll show you what dispatch gets, and you guys can see it in a moment. Alright, so currently our flight is reaching cruise. As you can see, it's going to take a moment in this nice little plane. So currently our UTC time is 2027, and we're expecting to reach Ben Gurion in 23:51, so in more or less 2 hours and 30 minutes. We're going to RIMES control. However, I'm going to time accelerate this once we reach the cruise altitude, which we're not that far. We are about 1,000 feet from cruise altitude, and I'll engage the 4 times speed. We can't go faster than that, but at least it's better than the iFly 737, where you can only do 2 times speed.
Contact Marseille Control 120.85.
Center on 120.85, speedbird 738.
It's a bit strange to see that we got one VOR. They're both
flight level 100.
They're both tracked name, but the standbys, they're not doing anything. They do get the range, but not the bearing. So, not sure if this is supposed to work, but these are standbys, so if these fail, we can navigate through this, and that's worrying me a little bit, because if I get to Israel and there's jamming, I may need to navigate using VOR, but if it's not working, then I predict some issues. Little voice in my head saying, do it. Just do it. Just fly raw. But I do need these needles. Maybe they just work when I tune the frequencies in. So what's the frequency? It's may. I need to look into the charts. That's going to be an issue because these charts don't have. These charts don't have VOR references. Oh my god. Let's see VFR. There it is. So it's this is ADF.
Entrance 1414, descend to flight level 120.
Alright, so there it is. Nancy, it's 116.8. Let me take a look at that. So nav. Oh, there it is. 116. The heck? 116.8. So 8. 116. Let's see. Does it tune?
Ryan's control.
Well, there's one tuned in, but the needles aren't moving anyway. So I think these needles are dead.
Alpine 2 Quebec Hotel.
And that's going to be an issue
identified.
because these are auto-tuned.
Transolo 53 Whiskey Echo.
And I just tuned another VOR right there. 116.8. And yeah, no change in the DME. Well, it did change the DME on the left side, but it's still tracking Lima X-ray India. That's not good. Let's hope this works out. You can see here that both VOR antennas were tracking Lima X-ray India. One was 30-something miles away, which probably was correctly tracking Nancy, but the needles didn't move, and they still don't move. So yeah, I may not be able to use VOR for navigation. We'll see. In other news, we got a 93 tailwind, 93 knots tailwind. How about that? This will definitely get us there faster. So for now it's 2352 UTC ETA, but I'm pretty sure this will be reduced over time. It already was. It was 2353, now it's 2352, so it's going to be reduced. The best way to see that is, of course, via the flight plan, because it's constantly updating. You can also see it here on the secondary page. Oh, this plane has that issue. It doesn't allow me to go to the performance on the initial page after a moment. Crikey, I forgot about that. Oh well. But yeah, you can easily look into it. You see 23351, so we're gaining time. No, it's back to 52. But we're gaining time with this tailwind. This is actually pretty good. Alright, let's go time accelerate this thing. And there it is. Oh. There you are. Alright, let's zoom out. Let's go back to IFR. Hi. Let's keep it like that. Let's zoom out a little bit. There's some strong tailwind, so we're going to have some slight vibration on the way. But don't worry. You can easily pause the simulator if there's something wrong and recover the plane. Alright. So Mirsha, como é que está o teu português? Can you understand what I just said, what I just asked? Como é que está o teu português? Mirsha is trying to learn Portuguese.
Contact
these sound issues.
Moonraker 221 Heavy, contact to engine radar 127.
The antenna's moving, you see that?
Bye-bye.
Contact lines on radar 127.6 Moonraker 221 Heavy, bye-bye.
They slightly moved.
Landing radar, Moonraker 221
And
Heavy,
I can see the needles also on the ND for a brief moment. Now we are at 10 nautical miles from that steer point, that VOR, and they're gone. They were moving for a moment. I think the issue here is with the ND for some reason. How cold is Bucharest, Mirsha? Bucharest.
Moonraker 221 Heavy, contact Zurich radar 126.225, bye-bye.
Contact Zurich radar 126.225 Moonraker 221
We're not
Heavy,
going to be
bye-bye.
long with Zurich.
Zurich radar, Moonraker 221 Heavy, flight
We're
level
going awfully
390.
fast.
Moonraker 221 Heavy, Zurich radar, radar contact.
So we're gonna get to another station in a few moments. Zoom out a little bit because I need to look at ECAM just in case there's a ECAM status jump. Why take this and not the 350? Because I'm a masochist. I like flying old planes. Older planes, not that old. The systems are just like the A320 modern day. Even the A330, it's just the engines that really killed the 340-300. The engines are just underpowered. There it is, let's go to Vienna.
Center on 124.4 Moonraker 221 Heavy, have a good evening. Vienna Center, Moonraker 221 Heavy, flight level 390.
Moonraker 221 Heavy, Vienna Center, identified.
So we're just north of the mountainous areas. And it's cloudy, so you wouldn't be able to see much if it was daylight anyway. Is my chat frozen? It usually freezes after a while. Nope, it's still going. Just no one's talking right now. So this is, for those that are joining, this is the Inibuilds A340-300, released last month. It's okay. I like flying the 340 as a rule of thumb. I like flying Airbus as another rule of thumb. Inibuilds, it kind of learned with their previous release in 350, but they're still making a few mistakes. They're still releasing stuff without testing. Case in point, beyond ATC departure clearance is still not working. CPDLC, it's not been fixed, or it's working in some mysterious way. I can't make it work, whatever reason. Beyond ATC does receive the message, but it doesn't bring it back to plane, doesn't reply back to the plane, so some issue. Other issues with this plane, well, I still can't go around the fact the third CDU is just blank. I can understand why they wouldn't want to create a third system. Maybe that's too much, but some aircraft options here would be nice. The PMDG aircraft do that. So the PMDG 777 does have 1 and 2 CDUs fully operational. This one is reserved for the airplane's options like open doors, fueling, all that. So why not do that? Why make it blank? Looks like they're just saving on time. If that's the case, if they prefer to make this blank but carry on designing the plane, then it's fine. But at some point you are going to ask yourself, why can't we have this third CDU working with something? Leaving it blank, it feels like they just couldn't be bothered with that. Other issues, can you look at the ATC buttons here? Look at them. Now they're black. As I approach, see the numbers come up, and this can happen with the LODs. So Sogo changed the way the level of detail is depicted over distance. Apparently this is one of the victims. Currently I can only see that on the ATC radio ATC panel, but maybe it happens on other places. It seems we got a flight level change over up front. Yep, it's telling me to climb to flight level 410. We're going to need to ask that to ATC. So before we reach Orpa, we need to ask ATC to step climb to flight level 410. And in order to do that, we need to decelerate so that we don't get into trouble.
Lufthansa 1 Hotel X-ray, Vienna Center, good evening, identified. Continue climb to flight level 330.
Continue climb to flight level 330, Lufthansa 1 Hotel X-ray.
You missed my question, Misha. It's alright. You will probably win.
221 heavy, contact Ljubljana radar 135.275.
Contact Ljubljana radar 135.275, Munich 221 heavy. Ljubljana radar, Munich 221 heavy, flight level 390.
Oh, that's a very deep voice. Alright, let's zoom in. Alright, let's call it in. Request altitude change.
Munich 221 heavy, request altitude change.
Flight level 410.
Request flight level 410, Munich 221 heavy.
Right, let's
flight
go.
level 410, Munich 221 heavy.
Press the button, and there it goes, climbing for flight level 410. This is sorry about that. This is what we call a step climb, so I didn't even need to decelerate, by the way. So we will have like a preset altitude for our flight. Remember, the higher the plane flies, the best, because that will mean less fuel consumption, less air resistance, so less fuel consumption, less engine are required, and sometimes you can even skip some winds. They're rougher at lower altitudes sometimes. Other times it's the other way around. But when you request a flight level change, it's basically written on your flight plan, and I'll show you in a moment. Let me just skip this to 320 knots, 20 nautical miles, sorry. There it is. So when you go to your flight plan here, so you're going to OFP, and if you come here to the summary, you'll see that we got out of, let me zoom in for you so you can see better. So you can see here, out of Paris, we were expecting flight level 390, which we flew until now, but then at this steer point, which is Corpa, we should request flight level 410. So this is already on our flight plan. You don't need to calculate this. You can if you want, but this allowed me to get the better performance on the climb to reach better and more efficient altitudes. This is very important on all aircraft, especially with the 340, because it takes an awful lot of time to reach anywhere in terms of climbing, of course. And of course, you can improve your timings. The higher you go, remember, the higher you go. Hello, Richard. How are you? Good afternoon. Good evening for you. The higher you go, the less air resistance there is, so therefore your engines are in less, don't spend as much. And it's very important to do that on a long-range flight. This is a medium-ish range flight, so we don't really have an issue. Think about it, flying over the Atlantic or flying over the Pacific, all those hours, you need to save as much fuel as you can. So when you reach your destination, you have that little extra to, for example, in an emergency, could happen. Well, sound sometimes breaks. Not sure if this is related to the time acceleration. Oh, the needle is moving again. Look at that. I don't know why it moves sometimes and some other times it doesn't. VORs will always have direction. They might not have range. So, see now they're moving. And there's the needles as well. So we're going to Zagreb. Let's go back to the
Zagreb radar, Numerica 221 heavy, flight level 410.
Numerica 221 heavy, Zagreb radar.
So we're flying over Croatia right now.
Wizard 772, radar vectors.
So, Richard, where are you today? Have you been flying?
On our runway 22, ready for descent, Wizard 772.
Wizard 772, Arcy Airport landing, runway 32.
Arcy Airport, landing runway 22, Wizard 772.
Someone was asking me when I posted a private message here. Someone's asking me, I'm not going to say who, some friend of mine was just asking me, why Israel? I was like, why not? I'm not a political guy, so I don't like a political stance to go or not to go to Israel. I don't care. It's a great destination to fly to because it represents an area of the world that's not that visited in flight simulation for some reason, but I like it, and I'm sure the Israelis like to see their country represented as well.
Descend to flight level 320.
Descend to flight level 320, Wizard 772.
Nice, Richard. Where's RJ? Where's Romeo Juliet Tango Tango?
Saga radar, Austrian 7 Charlie Echo, good evening, flight level 309.
Austrian 7 Charlie Echo, Zagreb radar, radar contact. Wizard 772 to center flight level 200.
Descend to flight level 200, Wizard 772.
Moonraker 221 heavy, contact, upgrade control 120.425, bye-bye.
Center on 120.425, Moonraker 221 heavy, bye-bye. Upgrade control, Moonraker 221 heavy, good evening, flight level 410.
Moonraker 221 heavy, Belgrade control, radar contact.
Oh, Tokyo, nice. You know, back in the days when I flew the 747, I did Tokyo a lot of times, but I did Narita. And there was one airport I liked very much in Asia. It was Macau. I really want to go back to Macau, but I don't think there's any good Macau scenery for the airport. I need to check. I've not seen it for a while, so maybe there is. Maybe I just missed it. But Tokyo Narita, yeah, got a lot of good memories. I don't remember if I ever flew to Haneda. I did fly a lot to KTAC in China, in Hong Kong, and Macau as well. And I did fly a couple of times to Narita. Not that many times, maybe 3 or 4 times to Narita. So I did fly there quite often. To Asia, I mean, not specifically to Narita. It was a cool approach. I don't remember exactly how it was, but I do remember it was a cool approach, and I liked to follow it. The best approach, of course, was KTAC. KTAC was a mind-wrecking, nervous approach every single time because of that turn you need to make, that very hard turn to make, and it was really cool. It was all VFR. There was an excellent scenery for Flight Simulator X called Approaching KTAC, and it truly was the thrill of it was really the approach. Everything else was just it was just a regular airport, but that approach was really something.
Upgrade control, this is 6 Juliet Papa, flight level 350.
Wizard 6 Juliet Papa, Belgrade control, radar contact.
Wingmaker 221 Heavy, have a good evening. Sofia Control, Wingmaker 221 Heavy, flight level 410.
Wingmaker 221 Heavy, Sofia Control, identified.
I was just searching it on Google, and apparently there is one, but I can't really find any information about it. One Macau scenery. It's probably under construction, but I've seen some pictures. It looks really cool. Maybe there's one in the making. I do remember that Macau used to be a Portuguese colony, and the Portuguese government helped the country to build that airport. It's actually conquered to the sea. There was no airport. There was nothing there. There was just sea. And they built the airport over some, just like the guys in Dubai are doing with those palm tree hotels and islands. Oh, sorry, palm tree islands. They're just building an artificial island to build the Macau airport. And it was partially a Portuguese company, or a couple of companies from Portugal doing that. Fun fact, Portuguese is still one of the official Macau languages, aside of course from Chinese Mandarin. But not a lot of people speak Portuguese anymore. If you visit Macau, you will see stuff written in Chinese, English, and Portuguese. And in some areas of Macau, some institutions, some companies will actually have primarily Portuguese and then Chinese Mandarin. Because yeah, Portugal was there for hundreds of years as making it one of the country's colonies. And they were given back to the Chinese some time ago, but we left some of our culture there, although, like I said, not a lot of people speak Portuguese anymore, which is unfortunately. So a lot of the Portuguese culture was lost over time. If I'm not mistaken, Richard, that airport was built by, not exclusively, I'm not sure, but I do remember there were Portuguese companies involved in building the airport. And if I'm not mistaken, the airport construction was either completed during the Portuguese administration or right after. Because I remember Portuguese officials going there and inaugurate the airport. Not entirely sure about the timings, but yeah, some of the Portuguese money is there. So yeah, it says here cruise flight level is above max flight level. I'm not sure that's possible unless we didn't burn enough fuel. Well, whatever happened, we're up here, and we're not exceeding anything, so some quirks of this plane probably. Yeah, it was a Portuguese colony for a few years, a few hundreds of years.
Have a good evening.
Just like Hong Kong would belong to the Brits, I suppose. Same thing.
Wingmaker 221 Heavy, Athens Control, radar contact. Contact Ankara Control 119.3 bye-bye.
Contact Ankara Control 119.3 Numerica 221 Heavy, bye-bye. Ankara Control, Numerica 221 Heavy, good evening, flight level 410.
Numerica 221 Heavy, Ankara Control, radar contact.
So we're now over Turkey. And
Ankara Control, Emirates 29 Uniform Heavy, good evening, flight level
well,
350.
Richard, thank you so much for your support. You're always
Emirates 29 Uniform Heavy,
always that
Ankara
guy.
Control, identified.
I thank you so much, Richard, for your kind support in buying me a coffee. Someone the other day told me that I should link the buy me a coffee to my OBS so that whenever people contributed over buy me a coffee, I would get like a warning or a climb in OBS. I'm sorry, I need to look into that because I don't know how to set that up, but I can confirm, Richard, thank you so much for your contribution. Again, very generous, Richard, and I appreciate your help. Remember, this channel is too small to be monetized by YouTube, so the only way I have for you guys to donate is via buy me a coffee, and Richard was just kind enough to do so. You don't have to. I don't do this for tips, but if you do tip, I thank you very much, because all the money that comes in will be reinvested in new models, new airports, new airplanes. So I thank you so much for your kind help. Richard is one of the supporters. So is Andrew, and so is Misha, by the way. So I thank you all for contributing, for donating. Really appreciate it. It's only because of you guys that this channel carries on, to be honest. I have to give a big shout out to Richard for being one of my best tippers, but I also need to thank Andrew for being a friend ever since day one, and Mirsha for actually helping me go through with this, because at some point in time, once upon a time, things weren't looking as bright. So the three guys that are here right now are the best people in the world for this channel, and I thank you so much. Yeah, I am having my dinner while I'm flying, so that's why I'm not very talkative, but please feel free to ask anything you wish.
Turkish 7 Charlie Kilo. Contact Istanbul approach 131.225.
Contact Istanbul approach 131.225, Turkish 7 Charlie Kilo. 27.2 Turkish 878.
Malta 8192. Contact Banner Upper Radar 127.65. Have a good evening.
Contact Farnham at Upper Radar 127.65 with Malta 8192.
Malta Alpha Victor, anchor control, expect Roman 5 Delta, runway 09er.
Expect Truman 5 Delta, runway 09er with Malta Alpha Victor.
Control, Cypress 343, good evening, flight level 350. Cypress 343, anchor control, identified.
Anchor control, Egypt Air 745, good evening, flight level 380.
Egypt Air 745, anchor control, radar contact. Main Rika 221 heavy. Contact anchor control 127.85.
Contact anchor control 127.85, Moonraker 221 heavy. Anchor control, Moonraker 221 heavy, flight level 410.
Moonraker 221 heavy, anchor control, radar contact.
guys, I'm still here, just having some dinner. I'm gonna reduce the time acceleration so we don't have any nasty surprises reaching the top of descent. But that's, I'm still finishing my little dinner. So time acceleration disabled. Let's go back to the en route map for now. Yeah, so we're now in the final stretch to reach Israel's right there. Now we're going to insert our flight plan data for the arrival. So let's go to OFP. I'm sorry if I sound a little emotional because I just got a beautiful message from a good friend of mine. I'm a bit emotional. It happens sometimes. So we're going to go for runway 12. So we're going to go for arrival, ILS 12. And now we're going to select the approach, which should be Godi Delta 2. So Godi Delta 2. And we got a VIA. Nah, good job. So probably BGN, but we'll confirm that. So let's go to charts, LLBG. Let's go for the arrival. And Godi Delta 2. So let's see, Godi 2. That is Godad, that's the name of it. Godad Delta 2. So probably the transition will be somewhere over here. So it's got to be, so that's Godad. All right, let's see the arrival. The approach, I mean, for runway 12. So ILS runway 12. So we're going to select the RNP as well, just in case. So let's see, this is the approach, Godad. That's BGN right there, so it's not going to be BGN. It's got to be the other one. So BG 121 or Godad. Oh, of course, it's Godad. Yeah, sorry. And that's it. So Godad, insert. Let's see. Oops. Back to flight plan. All right. So now we got a direct approach to Godad. We're still a bit far, still 160 nautical miles from the top of descent, but I'm not going to take any chances. I'm going to eat as fast as I can so that I don't get, I'll be monitoring, of course. Narita to Honolulu. That's a long flight. Yeah, it is beautiful. Honolulu. I gotta make one of those as myself. I seen the live feed once. I was watching it, and man, that approach is amazing. Those islands are just beautiful. So let's go here to Godad. Let's leave it here, and let's go back to en route map, and I'll be right back. So I was just observing here my landing performance. So there's not much for a stop margin here, and we're always going to look into the factored landing distance, never the raw landing distance. So the factor landing distance is 2,171 meters, and we only have 867 meters of stop margin. There are ways to, so let's see if I calculate. Yeah, so you see the difference. So I am going to use medium for the sake of having a good stop margin, just in case the brakes fail or something like that. Meanwhile, we're approaching Israel, and we're going to expect some issues with our flight, well, not with the flight controls, but GPS data. We will see what we could do. In the meantime, we're still on the approach phase. I just need to confirm my takeoff landing charts. Sorry. So I'm going to go for the pins. ILS 12 and decision height referred to minimums. All right, let's go down here. So we are going to go with 550 meters. Sorry, this is the thing I wanted to see. 303 feet for the better reference for landing minimums. Why choose baro and not radio? Well, radio is dependent on the aircraft's radio altimeter, and as you may know or may not know, and I'm going to tell you right now, radio altimeter is of course constantly measuring your distance between your aircraft and the ground, and it can be affected by buildings or other obstacles. And so this radio altimeter may not be reliable if there's an obstacle right before the runway, and you may get minimum set and not be the accurate minimum set. So in order to avoid that, you set baro, because that's dependent on meaning sea level altitude, and that's more or less fixed. I'm going to set up my marker beacon sound here just to listen to it. Yeah, so we got everything set up. We're just waiting for the ATC to give us the approach clearance and the landing runway. We're expecting runway 12, but you may never know. And if we need to change the flight plan, then we will. So be right back. In a few moments we'll be landing in Tel Aviv, Israel, and we'll be monitoring, of course, for those passkey jamming signals. We'll see. Be right back. I think I'm done now. Yeah, Richard, better is preferable every time, all the time. You can use radio when you're confident, or radar, sorry, when you're confident your approach is steady and there's no obstacles, but how can you tell, right? I very rarely see real-life pilots change the clocks. What do you mean? Start the clocks? Yeah, I did. See, there's oh, you mean change to UTC time? I always keep in UTC. So you can what AMC's Richard's saying is that you can come here and change your clock and change it from UTP or standard Zulu time to local time, but I always keep it in Zulu time. So what you're seeing here is time accelerated, all right? So we were 4 times time accelerated. My current Portuguese time is 21:26, and we are 2 hours ahead actually, which is by coincidence. I didn't set this up. All right, so we are at more or less 80 miles from our clearance to descent. 50 miles, that's more like it. So at any time, our good friend ATC will tell us our approach. And looking at the last comment, the last communication to El Al flight 5110, they gave them runway 12 via GoDet 2. So we're looking good, because that's exactly what our approach will be. So we'll see. We don't have a cruise checklist, but if you guys want a mnemonic, like a way to memorize what to do, I always think about it as flight, ECAM, weather, arrival. So flight, ECAM, weather, arrival, in this order. So monitor the flight, of course, monitor the ECAM, always look at the ECAM, see if whatever the ECAM tells you is trying to help you. Monitor the weather, of course. If there's rough weather, you need to plan ahead and prepare arrival. That includes what I just did, which is insert the MCDU landing performance and insert all the data for the arrival. You can do that at any time during the flight, but it's preferable that you do so closer to the destination, because the weather keeps changing. Now you saw me pull up the METAR for Ben Gurion. It's more or less a co-pilot's, or at least a pilot not flying, job to prepare all that, because you know you need to concentrate on flying, ECAM weather, fly, ECAM weather, and the other guy can do all the other stuff. So my co-pilot here, Miss Betsy, she's in the dark there, but she's there. She should be doing that, but of course I'm flying solo, and so I need to do that on my own. All right, anytime now. Come on, ATC. Coming up to my top of descent, and still no clearance for the approach. We're still on Nicosia radar, by the way. We're still not in Israel airspace. We're flying this high-fly A340-300 in a very obscure flight from France to Israel. I say obscure because it's in a totally white A340 operated by Hi-Fly. World famous 9 Hotel Sierra Oscar Lima, Sol, which means sun in Portuguese. That's not a coincidence. So we're waiting at any time to be cleared to descend to runway 12 via GoDet 2. Oh, you mean change the daylight savings time? Yeah, we did it. Yeah, last 2 hours now. Last 1 hour. Not last 2 hours, last 1 hour. So it grows darker sooner now, and I just went to pick up my kid. It was already from school, and it was already getting dark, and we arrived at home. It's the ghost plane from my flight. I don't think I've seen this plane ever flying in Portugal. I think they only did foreign flights, but probably did. I just didn't see it. The plane you mostly see is the blue stripe. That's the 340. So they're clearing El Al to descend now, but not us, not yet. So getting a little upset now, because it's getting awfully close, and remember, we're at flight level 410, 41,000 feet. We need to descend pretty much right now. We're less than 20 miles. We're about 10 miles from our calculated top of descent. There we go. Nice. Nice. Accept.
Expect to go to 2, runway 12, Moonraker 221 heavy.
Nice. Nice. All right, let's give it a little. What? Top of descent pause. Did I activate that? All right, so let's call ready for descent. I might have activated that by accident. I need to check that after we left. 13,000.
Go to 2, runway 12, descend to 13,000 feet, Moonraker 221 heavy.
So we need to 13,000. Oops. There we go. Manage descent for now. Let's put our seatbelts on for our passengers. All right, descent checklist. MCDU landing performance has been reviewed. TCAS set to below. Let's do that. Done. And approach briefing. Oh, she doesn't want to hear me. Nav aids has been reviewed. NTI says required, not required. FIS ND set to constraint, set. Barrel at transition level, we'll get to that in a moment. Descent checklist above the line complete. So you see now that we're below performance. That's the little green ball over there. So we're below that performance. It's coming right down, and we'll catch up. And as we do catch up, this crisscross line will disappear. Yeah, Moonraker. You know where that's from, Richard? Not a lot of people know where Moonraker comes from. It's a good James Bond reference, but not a lot of people know that. Anybody listening in, you don't know what Moonraker is? Just Google it. It's a James Bond thing. No, I'm not a huge James Bond film, but I think I saw them all. If I've not seen it, probably one or two of the early ones with those obscure James Bond guys, but I've Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Timothy, what's his name? Timothy Murphy, I think. I definitely saw his movies, and of course Daniel Craig, and what was the other guy's name? Pierce Brosnan. So I think I saw them all. There's a couple of obscure ones I don't really remember their names, so that's probably those that I've not seen. But my favorite James Bond will always be Roger Moore. Sorry, Sean Connery lovers. I do like Sean Connery, but I think Roger Moore was the James Bond. Sorry if I offended anyone. I know there's a lot of Sean Connery's fans. In fact, my top 3 would include Sean Connery in 2nd place, and drum beats Daniel Craig. I think is a great James Bond, to be honest. So first would be Roger Moore, Sean Connery, and Daniel Craig. That's my preference. And I just liked Casino Royale that much. I think it's there you go, Mirsha. You agree with me. I don't know why people don't like Roger Moore above Sean Connery, because I think Sean, not only is he Scottish, I mean nothing against the Scots. Sorry. I don't mean to upset you, Andrew, but it's true. I mean, James Bond is an English agent, right? So Sean Connery is great, but his accent sometimes takes over. And I think he is a charming guy, but I think Roger Moore is more like that hardcore British, deep accented agent, and he's funny. I mean, Sean Connery had its funny moments, but Roger Moore had some funny bits in his films. Roger Moore was the Bond for me as well, Mirsha. Sean Connery second and Daniel Craig third. Not a popular opinion, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure a lot of people like Timothy Murphy. Is it Timothy Murphy? I don't think it's Murphy. I think it's Timothy something.
Nicosia radar, Turkish 9 Victor Papa, good morning, flight level 350.
Dalton, Timothy Dalton, that's his name.
Turkish 9 Victor Papa, Nicosia radar contact.
Two states that don't change clocks. Daylight savings is worldwide, but more and more countries are abandoning it because it's more of a nuisance now than an actual thing. People don't really care about being dark longer, because nowadays there's no difference between daytime and nighttime for a lot of people. We are technologically advanced civilization, so there's no need to like, oh, let's pull the clocks back because it's going to get darker soon and we need more time in the morning. No, doesn't make sense to me, I'm sorry. And a lot of countries are thinking about abandoning the daylight saving system. And if you ask me, I'm one of the supporters of that, because I really hate when this happens, because it's either giving me an extra hour to sleep or taking it away. Either way, it's bad because it messes my internal clock like crazy. Arizona, the land of deserts. I've never been to the US, but one thing is certain. If I was ever going to the US, I would definitely never visit the big cities. I always love to go Route 66, go all the way from coast to coast, visiting those little states, smaller cities, smaller towns. I would love to go to a drive-in cinema. Never been. There's no such thing here in Europe. At least in my country, there's no such thing as a drive-through. Hello again. Welcome back. I'm looking for your name because I don't want to mess your name. Yulia. Did I say correctly? Welcome back, Yulia. We're a few minutes away from entering Israel airspace. We're still in Nicosia radar. I would expect Israel to be a little more protective of their airspace, and they have their controller bubble a little farther from their coast, but I guess, see, the bubble is very, very restricted here. all this is Nicosia so Malta. This is Malta Island. So all of this is being controlled by Malta. And then you have this bubble here for Israel, and this one here, which I believe is Syria, right? Or Lebanon. By Sur, Damascus, yes, Syria. So this one's for Syria. And then there's the bubble for Israel. I would think Israel would like to push this boundary further, so they're so protective of their country. But look at that. Not only it's so close to their coastline, it's almost like 20 or 30 miles in. That's very, very close to the mainland. But whatever suits their needs, I suppose. And I won't comment anything about politics, so don't worry about that. I don't really care for that anyway. Alright, so we are coming up on Zuko, which should be the first waypoint for that star. We're still at 20,000 feet from on our descent, so yeah, sorry, Cyprus, I meant Cyprus. You know, my geography sucks, doesn't it? It always does. You guys, I mean, you know who's good at geography? Betsy. But look at her. She doesn't say anything. She could have easily commented on that and said, no, that's not Malta. But no, she just looks away, fuming in anger. God knows why. Lebanon, yeah, I knew that, I know. But Damascus is on the, Damascus is on the right side, so it's in, so Damascus, so Syria only touches the Mediterranean Sea up in the north, right? And then there's Lebanon, and then there's Israel. And Syria kind of makes a border between both, right? I'm sorry, I've not been here that long, so I mean, in the simulator, not been in Israel for that long. What I'm trying to say is that I've not been to Israel for a long time, so I don't remember. But I think that's the way I said it. So there is a part of Syria that touches the water in the Mediterranean Sea in the north, right? So that bubble is Lebanon. You know, I'm more than willing to buy like a geography book or a geography chart, and if I was a pilot, I would definitely take one with me, because I would be so embarrassed to fly in real life and not know where the heck I'm flying above. Because when you look at the charts, they only tell you it's Nicosia or Athens control or Zagreb control. I mean, if you know your geography a little bit, you might figure it out. But if you don't know your geography, it will be very embarrassing if someone just came to you, oh, so Nicosia, where is that? And you said, well, we're just flying over it. No, we're flying over the Mediterranean Sea, so where is Nicosia? And yeah, it's of course in Cyprus, but how can you tell, right? And if you're not good at geography, then you'll have some embarrassing times. So we at Zuko will be crossing with the constraint of 13,000 feet, then 11,000 feet, or between 11,000 and 10,000 feet, then between 9,000 and 8,000 feet, and in around 7,000, 6,000, and finally at 5,000 and 5,000. And so when we are trying to obey to these constraints, but remember, this plane is a little sluggish. I mean, it's not that sluggish descending, but we need to predict exactly where we'll be. So we're reaching flight level 130 as briefed. So now we're going to descend for 1,000 feet. There we go. Let's continue its descent. No, we won't manage descent. There we go. Because last time I picked open descent, we had a little issue where the plane wasn't descending as fast. Thank you so much, Yulia, for enlightening me. Really appreciate everybody that comes here and just tells me, or corrects me actually. I don't mind that. My ego is big enough to fill in this cockpit. I don't need to be over dramatic about something when I'm not right. I prefer to be corrected and saying something stupid and people just disregard me. So that was Lebanon. Right, we are just about, yeah, there we are. There's our little plane there. So we passed Zuko. We're just about entering the second constraint of Convo. Everybody was Convo fighting. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Our in-flight time is 3 hours and 50 minutes. So it's not that short of a flight. This airplane is capable of doing much more than that, of course. This plane used to go from Lisbon to Macau. I'm not entirely sure if it was a direct flight, but you can imagine it's going all the way around the world. And it used to be an A340-300. I can only imagine those passengers going through that flight, having to cope with that climbing, sluggish climbing. 9,000, let's go.
9,000 feet, we make it 221 heavy.
Can carry on descending. We're passing the standard altitude, so going to 1015 in QNH and cross-checked. Alright, descent checklist below the line. Seatbelts are on. Bearer reference set at transition 1015.
Center on 121.4, we make it 221 heavy.
1015 set.
Tel Aviv control, we make it 221 heavy, sending Vigo to 10,800 feet.
We make it 221 heavy, Tel Aviv control, radar contact.
Now we're in Tel Aviv. Alright, we're reaching 10,000. Plane will need to decelerate. There it is. It's doing that right now. All right, let's extend the speed brakes as it is requesting from us, so that we can continue descending and decelerate at the same time. Speed brake extended. Passing 10,000 feet. Landing lights on.
We make it 221 heavy. Contact Bangurion approach 120.5.
Ben-Gurion.
Contact Ben-Gurion approach 120.5.
It's Ben-Gurion, right?
221 heavy.
Alright, seatbelt signs are on, landing lights are on, and wing lights.
Heavy, 9,600 feet, we have Kilo on board.
Wing lights are on. Let's pull the speed brakes in, we're no longer required.
QNH 1015, expect the ILS runway 12 with a go to transition. We make it 221 heavy.
Alright, give us another altitude, please. We already have the GoDaddy transition inserted.
We make it 221 heavy, descend to 7,000 feet.
7,000.
Descend to 7,000 feet, we make it 221 heavy.
Yeah, it's a shame. But they had the 340-600, right? They didn't have the 300 anymore, I think. Lufthansa, I mean. So, rule of thumb, you might want to go all the way down in a managed descent, but real-life pilots will most likely never do that. It's more comfortable for you, and it's way comfortable if you have to follow these constraints we're following right now. But honestly, I think that you need to practice decelerating and making sure that your descent rate is controlled via an open descent or manual descent. So the difference between open descent is that you press this button here and allow the plane to flow into that descent and not try to control the vertical speed. In manual descent, you operate your VS speed right here. There's yet another way to do this, which is by heading track, but I honestly, it's a pilot's preference to use heading track. I honestly can't really be bothered to using it. I'm sure pilots would defend it. I prefer flight levels and not tracks. So, not heading track, sorry, the FPA.
We make a 221 heavy, descend to 5,000 feet.
5,000.
Descend to 5,000 feet, we make a 221 heavy.
Let's carry on descending. There's the runway right there. We're already seeing.
Cross skirted to over 5,000 feet. Cleared ILS runway 12.
Alright, let's take a look at our ILS chart. We're already passing the Big Gurion VOR range. So let's go runway 12 ILS. There it is. And we are supposed to intercept the ILS at 2,500. So let's descend to that altitude right now. Alrighty then. Alright, let's look outside. Ooh, my mouse sometimes just flips away. Alright, this is my track IR turning on. Center it. Alright, here we go. I'm back on my seat. We had some crosswind coming from the right. So I pulled 2,500, but of course the plane will still obey to the constraint, so the current constraint is 5,000 feet, as you can see there. It's going to stop there, and then it's going to continue to descend up until that fifth waypoint up ahead on the top, 2,500 feet. So now it's going to obey to the constraint, so it's not like I can override the constraint. I can if I want to. I just need to press open descent and just let it flow, but I prefer to follow these constraints and obey to the charts because they're there for a reason, right? So all the way back we can turn in our landing system, and now I'm gonna go prep the flight to land. So we're already well within the GODAT, after GODAT. We got Lima 1015. Copy. 1015 and cross-checked. Alright, we can turn on our approach, although we're a bit far away. What we're going to require, well, extend speed brakes, why? We're going to allow it to intercept ILS from below. That's the way you want to do it. It's going to be a very long approach. And we're a bit high. That's why it's asking us for the it's also coming down for our VAP, which is 131 knots. Speed check, flaps 1. So we're decelerating the plane. Speed brake in. That's the plane warning us. So we're going to go for landing flaps 3. Here we go. Stand by. Sorry about that, I was having trouble here with my flap knob.
Heavy. Contact bend here in Tower 134.6, bye-bye.
Contact Tower 134.6, Moonmaker 221 Heavy, bye-bye.
Speed check, flaps 2.
Moonmaker 221 Heavy, ILS runway 12.
Arm our speed brakes, auto brakes set to medium.
Runway 12 cleared to land.
As fragged.
Runway 12 cleared to land, Moonmaker 221 Heavy.
Alright, clear to land.
2,500.
2,500 check. Speed check. You're down. check flaps 3, set for landing. When I turn off... Yes, I need to turn off the landing lights and turn on the takeoff nose lights because there's an interference there on the click spot.
2000.
2000. We got some tailwind. Look at that. Right, we got GS lock and speed. Autopilot off. Right, manual approach. Nice and steady. We're stabilized on ILS, going a little low. Remember to anticipate the aircraft. Don't let it win. Trust your instruments as well, because it's something I've noticed. A lot of people just don't trust their instruments. And they feel the plane's drifting. No, the plane's not drifting, just trust your instruments. Alright, this wind speed has now come to 1 knot, so we got no wind. Virtually no wind. We're a little off to the left. We're right on the money for the glide slope, just not there with the localizer.
1000.
1000 check. Now, a little low. Let's go up. Let's follow the flight director. Little pedal adjustment. Right, landing checklist, ECAM status, no blow. Continue. A little low. Nose coming up. Come on. If one of those lights, if those lights up there were the PAPI lights, if they all turn red or all turn white, it's a go around guaranteed. Remember that. So follow the flight director.
500.
500 check. Make your adjustments. Don't oversteer.
300. 100 above. 200. Minimum.
Continue.
100. 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20 retard, 10.
Nice touchdown a little to the left. Reversers. Auto brake. Reverses off.
Moonraker 221 heavy, exit right at Yankee.
Exit right at Yankee. Moonraker
Right at
221
Yankee,
heavy.
Roger. Auto brake off. Nice landing. Yeah, it's a beautiful approach. Welcome to Israel. And we didn't have any jamming issues, which is kind of a letdown, to be honest. Is this Yankee? No, that's Romeo. We need to go and get out on Yankee. My bad. Alright, let's clean the aircraft. Not the craft, aircraft. Makes sense to exit on Yankee because we were very generous on the braking there. We should have gone with low. But you saw the performance. All right. This is Yankee, right? Yeah, this is Yankee. There we go. It's a high-speed exit, by the way. It is Yankee, isn't it? Tell me I left on Yankee. Nope. This is Echo. All right. Let's stop here.
Vinica 221 Heavy, contact ground 121.75.
Ground 121.75, we make it 221 Heavy.
Start APU. This is the sign to
We make it
Sanjay.
221 Heavy, request taxi to allocated gate.
Moonraker 221 Heavy, Gate Bravo 8, taxi via Yankee, Kilo, Mike 2 Romeo Bravo, Mike 2 Bravo 8.
Gate Bravo 8 via Yankee, Kilo, Mike 2 Romeo Bravo, Mike 2 Bravo 8, we make it 221 Heavy.
Alright, so this is a U-turn here. Well, not a U-turn. But we need to do this. We need to go back here. Alright. Let's go. It's a big plane, but we can do it. Alright, let's turn off our landing lights. APU is starting up. Available. APU bleed set. Alright, now we need to tell me I didn't just shut down. Whew, I thought I shut down beyond ATC for a moment. Yep, you can turn your phone back on, but please remain seated. Welcome to Tel Aviv. Our current time, local time, I don't know, but our current UTC time is midnight. I would suck as a captain, to be honest. I would need to learn with the best, I suppose. So we're still on Kilo. It's this one right here. We need to go all the way to Mike 2, which is right here, Mike 2. And then turn in straight, and then a slight right-hand turn. Again, this plane likes to speed up on the taxiway. What it lacks in flight performance, it's abundant in ground performance. So let's see if GSX doesn't bork our gate and give us the correct rates. We're expecting Bravo 8 somewhere over there. Alright, let's left-hand turn here. Straight to those gates up there. And now in the right-hand turn. Here, and that will be our gate right there. See if there's anybody waiting for us there. I don't think there is. Let's confirm that before we jump in. So we need to go here to GSX menu, toggle the menu, and apparently the menu is not available. We'll see. I think there's a loader here. It's probably correctly loaded. I need to think twice. Need to look 3 times before I can accept the GSX is either working or not. Let's see if we have PDGS. Panel is there, at least. There it is. A340. Let's go a little to the right. Now line up to the left. It's a safe dock, I think. Just need to keep those lines straight. There we go. Nice and smooth. Stop, stop, stop. Parking brake is set. Can we shut down? Okay, we can and we will. Alright, let's hit the storm light. Hello, Betsy. Nice to see you again. Alright, engine shut down. These lights should have been turned off before we entered the gate. After landing checklist was not performed, but oh, we were burning everybody with radiation. My bad. So spoilers subtracted and we disarm weather predictive windshield turned off. TCAS set to off. Terrain to was already off. APU is on. Wing anti-ice engine anti-ice not used. APU bleed on. And there it is, rolling into stand, runway turn off lights and nose wheel lights should have been off. Alright, parking checklist, parking brake is set, navigate's set to off. Same with the flight directors. FCU reset, let's do that. So 100, 100, and 3000. Actually, it's 100 as well. This plane. Flight directors 1 and 2 are off. ND arc 10, constraint off. Arc 10, constraint off. NTIC is off. APU or GPU available. Engine master switches are off. Fuel pumps to off. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oops. Alright. Let's call the mechanic to see if we can get our external power plugged in. And let's see if
Deboarding requested.
Deboarding requested. There's the gate, it's moving, unlike Paris. This one does move, although it's acting a little funky. Alright, engine master switches are off, fuel pumps are off, beacon is off, seatbelt signs to off. External power is on, there we go. Engine, APU bleed, engine and APU master switches to off. Cockpit door to open.
Passengers deboarding starting.
So unlock. There we go. You know why this door is open before the flight and after the flight? It's actually a funny story. I'm going to tell you right now. So this happens because the airlines, given the fact that some planes are so keen on automation, airlines want the people to see that this plane was flown by humans. I kid you not. I mean, there might be other reasons, but especially if you want to evac the plane during an engine start, you really need that door to be open to escape, just in case. And after the arrival, if you really need to, you know, if you want to come back here and greet the passengers as they move out, of course, that's also a good reason to do so. But honestly, it's funny that back in the day, the door would be open so that people would see that the crew is here. And it's a little more to have like a connection with the passengers as well. Anyway, welcome to Tel Aviv, welcome to Israel. This is Gurion Airport. You can see the LL planes. If you can't fool that, it's also written in Hebrew. This is our beautiful high-fly Airbus A340-300 that we brought in from Paris Orly. This plane is a gem. I mean, a gem in terms of, you know, the history behind it. Inibuilds has done a good job, I suppose, but there are still some minor issues with this plane that I really wish they address in the future. iFly does have this plane. It's like people were saying in the chat, this is the ghost plane from iFly. It's completely white. But yeah, it's kind of like that obscure flight from Paris to Israel from a charter airline like iFly. Clearly for vacations. I mean, you don't want to know what's inside these cargo containers. Come on. It's just baggage and stuff. Don't worry about it. But yeah, it's been a wonderful flight. Everything, or more or less, went as planned. GSX was kind of bored in terms of making the jetways work, so that's bad. But other than that, the flight went very uneventful. Sorry about that, my kids were acting up. Oh, is that, are the brakes hot? Look at that. Could that be really modeled in? Sorry about that, coming through. Yeah, look at that, they are hot. That brake over there, specifically, is hot. Look at that. I need to turn on the, look at that. That's a nice feature. I need to turn on the brake fans if this plane has it. Yeah, they do. Yeah, there it is. That specific brake is hot. That's cool. That's very cool. Where am I? Oh. Let's see. Now the fans are working. And fun thing about well, it's not funny at all, but one thing about the fans you need to realize is that if you turn on those fans, especially the ground crew, oh, the sound's gone. As you approach, the sound disappears. Now you can hear the brake fans. Now you can, for some reason. But especially for the ground crews, it's very dangerous to approach the brake area or the landing gear once the brakes are activated, because they emanate the heat, so they dissipate the heat by blowing it away. So anything around this landing gear with the brake fans operating is going to get very, very hot. And another thing that it's written on the airplane's manuals is that after you turn on the brake fans, you need to cool it down to below 250 degrees Celsius, and the plane may not be used again for a period of time. It's calculated over heat and heat dissipation. So brake fans are not really a good thing most of the times. I mean, they are good at cooling down the brakes for the next flight, but it's preferable not, in a way, it's preferable not to use the brake fans because that also degrades the brake life. So yeah, brake fans are not that holy grail of aviation people thought it would be because of those reasons. Anyway, thank you for flying with me today. This has been iFly flight from Paris Orly to Ben Gurion, Tel Aviv in Israel. Let me see if I'm not going to miss anybody else. So thank you so much, AMC Richard, for your kind donation and for your presence here. Thank you, Mirsha, for your always be here and be my trusted moderator. The same with my good friend Andrew, that probably needed to go away earlier. And of course, my new friend Yulia, thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for your kind words as well. Everybody, this has been a great flight. I thank you all for coming. I hope I didn't miss anybody. I'm sure I didn't, but if I did, I'm sorry. And please do help this channel by subscribing, by donating if you can via Buy Me a Coffee, but above all, subscribe, leave a like, come back, let me know what you would like me to fly next and where. Yeah, thank you so much. It's been great. This has been quite a pleasant flight with not that many events, and I thought this would be a mess because of the radar for the GPS jamming, but nothing happened. So always good when everything goes to plan, right? So guys, see you next time. Remember, keep that blue sky up, just like that other guy from YouTube said. I find that funny. Yeah, keep the blue side up. That's a good reference. Cheers.
I love to fly up in the sky. Through the clouds I reach so high, climbing up to touch the light. Adventure calls me day and night. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. The stars above begin to shine, painting trails so bright and fine. Every turn brings something new, endless skies in brilliant blue. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the drum's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soared into the